Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
I don't know about you, but I'm not too fond of getting gas, but I do like to have a full tank. In the same way, I'm not extremely fond of cooking, but I like eating and having a full tummy. It's a satisfying feeling, isn't it? None of us like feeling hungry all the time, but if you're anything like me, that hungry feeling doesn't last more than a couple of hours, if that. In America, few of us know what it really means to go hungry. But some cultures live from hand to mouth with no plan B if something interrupts their way of living, like sickness, drought, or war. When people followed Jesus, it meant that they weren't working that day. And in John 6, they'd followed him to a secluded place with nowhere near to buy food, even if they had the money. So they were hungry. In other gospel accounts, it said Jesus taught them all day and healed many of them. So he had fed their souls. Then he fed their bodies. John 6:11 and 12 says, "And Jesus took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed them to his disciples, and the disciples to those sitting down, and likewise of the fish, as much as they wanted. So when they were filled, he said to his disciples, 'Gather up the fragments that remain so that nothing is lost.'" Notice they got as much as they wanted. They were filled. That means people had seconds and maybe even thirds. And you know there were people who stuffed some in their knapsacks for later. We've all met those types. It was an unforgettable meal, like the manna and quail in the desert. They went away full. In fact, in verse 12, the Greek word translated "they were filled" meant more than just their appetite was satisfied. It means they were stuffed. One place I read said they were foddered up, like a horse that turns away from his food because he's full, or like me when I waddle out of an all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet. And all this from a little boy's lunch. God doesn't do things halfway, does he? He doesn't do things good enough, like we often do, just to get by. I mean, have you seen a sunrise? The sky goes a million different colors, and a camera doesn't ever do it justice. That'll fill you up with God's glory, won't it? He gives his best. In fact, I bet that was the best fish and bread those people had ever had. And they could have as much as they wanted. No wonder the people wanted to make Jesus king after that. Just imagine not having to work to eat and not wondering where your next meal is coming from. But that wasn't Jesus' point at all. He saw a need, he was compassionate, and he filled that need. But even so, when he did physical miracles, they always corresponded with something he does spiritually. Like when he healed the blind, he proved that he can open people's eyes spiritually and help them understand who he is. In healing diseases, Jesus shows that he can heal from the ultimate spiritual disease, sin. In calming the storm, he shows that he can calm the storms in our lives. No trouble or difficulty is too difficult for him. In feeding people physical food, Jesus proves that he can also feed us spiritually with abundance and overflow. He can take an empty, hungry soul and fill us full of his grace, joy, love, and peace. If we're hungry spiritually, all we have to do is pray and open up his word, and he will fill us with whatever we need. Are you hungry today? The Lord is more than willing to fill you with whatever you need. Just ask him.
You can contact us at treasurehuntinttheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through his word. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.